I need about 350.
Mother Energy Drink
Joke.
of the day.
Mother! I need about 350.
Mother Energy Drink
Joke.
of the
I
day.
need about 350.
G'day everyone, it is the Captain. Welcome back to the channel. A big thank you, of course, to each and every one of you that like and subscribe to these videos and you share them around the world with all of your buddies, all of your pals, and all of your mates. And as the voice of the voiceless, let me say good day to yous. How are you all? Hope everyone's doing well. How's everyone's tits and dicks for another week? I hope they're all doing great. It's good to see yous all again. It wasn't even that long, but since the last time I saw yous. But here I am again, because I fucking love doing it. And I love having you here with me. So let's get down and dirty with one another and say hello to a few people that are hanging out. Who's hanging around today? Let's see. Who we got? We got Adamus, also known as the Great Conholio. He is here, and he's also over on our, what's it called? The other page, the other one. I was about to say Tinder. Twitch. He's on our Twitch page as well. And if you're on Twitch, go on over there. I want to see if we can get, I need to get 25 followers apparently on Twitch. We've got 12 there at the moment. So let's see if we can get the extra 13 and smash this shit into a whole new dimension. Who else we got hanging around? Nathan, my soul brother, is here. The caveman is here. Bloody, who's that? Mate Soup is here. Good to see you, good son. Oh, Jesus crikey, look at that. Who else is hanging around? So Adamus is over there on Twitch, and then we've got Safari. Safari's over there on Twitch as well, and Safari's also here in the YouTube chat. Look at those fucking icons there. Unbelievable. Sarah is here. G'day, Sarah. James West, the man that fish forget. He's here. Gene, good to see fucking Gene in the house. Beauty is listening, but he's on his way to work, so he'll probably pop past later. What the fuck is that? What are you? What? Almost got me. Well played. Frank is here. G'day, Frank. Beck is in the house. Scotty is there as well. Greg's here. Everyone's turned up to say hello. We got Matt, another Matt. We got Martin. Far out. Everyone's here. Good to see you all. And if you are over there on Twitch, feel free to jump on over there and say hello to us over there as well. As I said, we're trying to get 25 viewers on there, or 25 followers. Don't even need to have proper. You can just be on there. But nonetheless, how are yous? Here, fuckheads. It is good to have yous here with me yet again. Let's get down into it, right? I was thinking about this earlier today, about, like we're all on the internet currently. We're all on either YouTube or Twitch watching right now. And it makes you wonder about the other things that we've just grown accustomed to as things that we watch online. Now, I know people that watch, people that mow lawns and do up a yard and all that sort of stuff. G'day, bloody Sam, how are you? Good to have you here. What? Jesus Christ. Oh, fucking more of them are coming. What? People watch, have you guys seen those videos where, it's just a guy on a lawnmower and a shovel and he cleans up other people's yards and stuff? Like they've taken off. People love watching those channels. There's a bloke here in Australia that runs around to hard rubbish collection and he just digs through people's hard rubbish, which is the stuff that people just throw out. He goes digging, goes pilfering through people's stuff, and he just picks up the shit that he likes and he either resells it or takes the metal to the scrapyard or whatever. Emanuela, how are you? So that always happens quite a fair bit. People watch that. People watch dash cam footage. People watch, what do you guys watch? What else what other stuff? What random shit do you just watch online? Because it makes you really wonder what people get up to when you are just, perusing on the internet, like cat videos and, funny dogs and funny animals and, fucking whatever. How a dishwasher works, that's another good one. I know, I mostly watch porn for that one. It made me wonder, imagine going back to when VHS was in its prime. Imagine even when Betamax was still a thing, that you decided to say to yourself, you know what I want to do today? I want to watch 7 hours of cats doing fuck all. I just want to have 7 hours of cats just being cats. So you go and you get, you might have to go to Blockbuster, you might go to Video Easy, you might go to fucking insert fucking shop here, and you go, everyone's turning around. No, Geo's here too. G'day, mate. James 10's here too. Fuck. Everyone's turning up. AC/DC, yeah. But look, AMSR. Yeah, this is another big one. Restaurant skits. Joe's from Glasgow. Hello, Joe. Andrew is here as well. Bloody 3:12 a.m. Mate, go to bed. What are you doing? What are you doing? Go get some nine eyes, brother. Upgrading your sound system at work, says no, Joe, play us through your fucking, play us through your big sound system. Fur Missile is here as well. But imagine you've decided cats is the thing, right? So you nick down to Blockbuster and you're like, hi, I need the 7-hour video of cats doing fuck all. And they'll be like, well, that's actually out at the moment. You're going to have to pick something else. Go, oh, do you have the bloke with the lawnmower? Can I watch him? And then you get the cassette and you take it home. And you just whack it in your video player and then you sit on the couch with all your mates and you're just watching a guy mow a lawn for fucking 3 hours. Right? Where did that become a thing? Imagine telling Zuka, how are you, darling? Tits out and all ready to go. Fuck yeah, that is the way to live. But can you imagine that? Could you go back to when you were a kid? Is that something that you would do where you go, all right, no, I'm so glad I recorded this off the telly. This is a guy that fucking cleans swimming pools. I'm just going to watch him. And then someone's going to go, why are you watching a guy clean a swimming pool? And you'll be like, because I haven't seen it before. So I'm just going to watch it now. And then the interest just takes off. And the next minute, you know, people are bootlegging copies and fucking you go down to the Sunday markets or whatever and everyone's selling, you know, recorded from the TV versions of a guy mowing a lawn because no one wants to pay the full price. That guy's probably a multi-fucking-trillionaire by now because he's just sold a whole bunch of cassettes of him fucking mowing lawns or cleaning pools or fixing the gutters or just a fucking video of him fixing a dishwasher. There's a whole bunch of stuff that this guy's making money off because apparently we don't no longer want to think for ourselves, which is fine. Which is fun. There's nothing wrong with it. I switch off to videos like that too. I'll sit down and watch a few cat videos. I like funny goats that, you know, and they just fucking do stupid stuff. I fucking love watching them, right? Especially the ones that fall over all the time because they just are scared shitless of no matter what happens. But could you imagine trying to go back and tell someone that this is what you're going to do, right? This is just how it's going to be. What's my favourite mother can? Oh, that's a good question there. Actually, I don't mind this one. This one is the sherbet. Rainbow sherbet. That's probably that or orange dreamsicle. That would be my two favourites. That one came out last year, and the Orange Dreamsicle came out this year. And they're probably my two favourites. But could you imagine doing that? Could you fucking... Is that something that you would do? Yeah, because they got up. But would you do that? Like, go back to, like, if YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and all that sort of stuff disappeared today, how are you going to get your fix? How are you going to get your fucking, I just can't wait to go home and watch, fucking, I don't know, fucking Tim, right? Tim from Tim's Mowing, just fucking mowing his lawn. What's next? If you can't get that content, are you just going to drive around until you see someone mowing their lawn and just sit in your car like you've gone to the drive-through and you're just going to watch it in person? Like, oh, fuck, why watch the movie when you can see the play? And you just turn up and you're just chilling out there and you're just fucking watching it. Who the fuck is that? Who are you? Where are you coming from? But yeah, it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just fucking weird. What's my favourite bar drink? Oh, God, I haven't tried it. Godfather No Ice. That's an interesting one. I'm very standard. Like, a nice wild turkey and Coke. I'd be all right with that. Just a wild turkey on its own. I'm very happy with. If I was going to have a cocktail, I don't mind the fruity cocktails because I'm a bit of a fucking weirdo, but I don't mind fruit tingles. That's a good one. That's a decent one. Nice and sugary drink. There was another one that I used to have. It was like a blue croquet or whatever the fuck it was called. I'll have to have a think. I can't remember what it was, but I liked it. It was all good. Ella and I married with kids, yeah. But used to record women doing aerobotics in the 80s. I think we all fucking did that at some stage. Frank reckons you just need to go and talk to people. But yeah, what if you don't want to talk to people? What if you just want to see a guy mow his lawn? So you just turn up and you got your own camera with you. And they'll be like,
What is the charge? Eating a
fuck is
meal? A succulent Chinese
Baxter!
meal?
Make sure to keep the 3CS in tip-top shape.
I need about 350.
Fuck yeah, you do. Thank you, Vexter. You didn't need to do that, but thank you so much. Appreciate it. I don't know how many. We've got a few people hanging over there on Twitch, about 4 or something. Let's see if we can get some Twitch followers. If you're not on Twitch, doesn't matter. But if you know anyone that's on Twitch, come and ask them to hang around. I'll see if I can get that 25 followers over there. That would be fucking good. Okay, let's do this. Let's watch a bit of a video. I don't know what this one is. I don't know. I can't even remember who sent me this one. That's a bit fucking upsetting, isn't it? Oh, I'm going to try something new today too. Oh, I forgot about that. Let's try that too. Let's go to this button. Right. We're going to do that. We're going to pause that. Play that up to there. Bring that down to here. I'm going to bring that up. I'm going to put that there. Because I like it how you put it like there, right there. I like it when you put it right there. I've got another thing. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's kind of worth trying. This button. Right. I'm not sure if you guys can... Oh, I can only do one thing at a time. Oh, that sucks. I thought I could interact with both. No, I could only interact with one thing at a time. I found this. Whee! I don't know why I wanted it, but I've got it now. So shit happens. All right, let's go back to the Sheila. Where's my video? Where's my video gone? Book. That's still there. Hang on a minute. Why is that still there? What's going on here? That's still on the screen. I don't want that on the screen anymore. Like that. All right. It's playtime with the captain. I'm going to have some fun. My soul brother would make his own videos and sell them of you just mowing the lawn, mate. I'd watch that. I'd watch you fucking mow the lawn. Why not? All right, here we go. We've got this video. We'll see what's going on with it. I have no idea, but we'll fucking see. We'll fucking see what's going on. Oh, we've got 2 people on Twitch. That's a win. Bonk. All right. Fucking, where did it go? I'm all over the shop today. Like a fucking fat kid on a fucking slippery dip. I just don't know. What are you doing there? Go over there, you fucking dopey bastard. I'm trying to balance everything still. It's all over the place. I need to be able to do this.
Mother energy.
Apple, how are you, brother?
Joke.
Of the day.
Mother!
I bet people sell videos of themselves jerking it. Probably. Now that OnlyFans won't be a thing because, all that sort of content's disappeared. Most likely. Now, I don't know anything about this video. I don't know how it starts. I don't know how we even got here. I think Beauty sent it to me. I don't know. It could have been Frank. One of you wonderful people sent it to me. I don't know anything about it. Not a fucking thing. We're going to learn about it together because that's how we do stuff. Captain, I have a question. In America, we buy bacon a pound at a time. How do they measure bacon in Australia? Oh, that's a good question. Well, you can buy it in grams, which is similar to your pounds, I suppose. But you can also go to a deli and get it by the slice. Like I buy 8 slices of bacon at a time if I'm going to go and buy bacon. And I normally like the shortcut bacon, the one that doesn't have the big string of fat connected to it. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's worth it because I like to make bacon and egg fucking sandwiches and bacon and egg rolls and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you can get it by the slice, or if you're going to buy it from a store, then you can buy it in the grams. So normally it's 250 grams and 50 grams. So you can get 250 grams, 500 grams or a kilo, and that's sort of how it bounces up. So there you go. Grams of bacon, yeah, that's right, yeah. That's how we do things. Oh, did I mention, I think Southpaw, Grandpa was in the chat earlier too. I'm not sure if he's still there, but if he is, hello. What? Here we go. Come on, you fucking dropkick. Do the job I want you to do.
Hey, don't be reaching. Get up.
Let's.
It's done.
Where's the video stuff?
That's gonna get towed.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, ma'am. Axle broken.
this shit
It's
is
done.
done.
Yeah.
That's gonna get towed.
That's going to get tight. All right. I don't know what's going on.
You said something about
Get the girl who will wrap the bacon around your 3Cs. Oh, fuck yeah. No, but then they might bite it. I don't want that to happen. JTD, how the fuck are you? You're home. Welcome back, good son. Here we go. I don't know what's going on. He's got a gun.
I said make sure there ain't no
Have
homosexuals.
a good night.
Hang
On
on, fuck
Sunday,
off. Oh, okay, here we
July
go.
14, 2024,
Right.
officers could hear a loud noise coming from First Street. They observed a white Kia Optima with the front end damaged
Optima.
and a flat tire.
Well, fucking that you might as well just start shooting. How come you guys don't like naming your streets? You all seem to enjoy the number sequence. Just call them by fucking names. Like, I live on a street that has a name. Oh, Jesus Christ.
A succulent Chinese meal.
Look at that, fucking Gino. He's chucking shit in. He's like, here you go, have some of that.
Well, I have something. I need about 350. Tell you.
Thank you very much, Joe. You didn't need to do that, but thank you. And if you're over there on Twitter, on Twitch or whatever, let us know as well. I don't know, just give your streets a name. Just give them a fucking name. How fucking hard is it to have a name? Just call it whatever. You can make up a fucking name. Every name's made up when you think about it. But, you every fucking town, 1, 2, 3, I don't care. Just fucking name them stuff. Fuck me. Put some effort into your towns, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, mate. No, fucking, my soul brother, bacon and eggs and cheese sandwich. Yeah, mate. Oh, I'm going to have that for dinner tomorrow night. Oh, Ballerina and Butch are here. Hello, darlings. How are yous? Hope it's all going well in your neighbourhood.
As officers were crossing the street, the occupant of the vehicle was rapidly accelerating that almost ran them over. See what happens next.
Where you going?
Hey, be patient.
You know they're fucking nowhere near them, right?
What are you doing, man? You can wait.
Yeah.
You in the wrong lane.
What the fuck, motherfucker? I will fuck you
now
up.
you get to go last. You go. Your turn. He can wait. Bro.
Yeah, dickhead. Look, this
Come
car.
on, man.
Right.
It don't matter. They were sitting here and I was trying to go around.
Yeah, there's a
Dude, there's a fucking police officer in front of you. I don't give a fuck if, you were given every green... I don't care if air traffic controller called you and said, hey, we're missing 4 planes, but you can fucking take off if you want. And you go, yeah. If there's someone standing in the way, you don't plow through them. That's not how driving works. That's not how... you wouldn't go charging... Look, who are you, the King's Guard? You can't just go charging through fucking people because you think it's an okay idea. Then again... you do look terroristy. So maybe this is like a French truck driver through the Bastille Parade type scenario. I don't know. He could be. He could very well be a beady weedy. We don't fucking know that for sure. We probably need to launch an investigation into this because I'm pretty sure this motherfucker owns a backpack.
Mother energy drink.
Joke.
Of the day.
Mother!
He's got a gun!
Reason, because there was a
They
crash.
still could have went around though.
You
That's
can
just like
still be
any day
patient.
when Uber's on the side, people go around.
Yeah, but today,
Okay.
just be patient, okay? I'll let you go in a second. Hold
Calm
on.
the farm, motherfucker.
Go ahead, man.
Now you can go, dickhead.
Did she hit your car? No, the truck. Okay, because I saw you guys were down there when she initially
What's
hit.
that?
I wasn't sure.
Oh, that's a, is that a Hellcat? That looks like a GT of some kind. Looks very GT-ish.
She didn't come at any of you. You're all good. Okay, good. I know. Well, I tried to stop her. If I
Why is the donation goal only one for this? I don't know. I don't know. You can surprise me. You can do whatever you want. You can chuck more if you want. I'm not going to argue.
knew she was gonna apply.
Kendall! 1 out of 2 Kendalls are accounted for. So that's a good start. It is good to have you back with us, good mate.
Over. That was a
park on the side.
I'm finally a millionaire of donations. Yeah, I can barely buy a Coca-Cola.
She's yeah.
Prime Burgers. That sounds like the worst Transformer name ever. I
Yeah,
am
with the truck
Burger
that she hit in
Prime.
front of the Starbucks on First.
Yes, hello. I'm the owner of the vehicle.
Yeah, and good. Fucking
Are you okay?
congratulations,
Is anybody
dickhead.
No, man. We are all good.
Look at this motherfucker. Where are you off to? Look at you, mate. You look like a fucking a hip and cool youth pastor. You look like you're about to fucking tell everybody that, oh, I used to be a bit of a scallywag myself until I found God, which was good because he's been missing for a bit. And you're not even going to believe where I found him. I found him in a bathroom stall in a Taco Bell. Yeah, I know. It's a bit weird, isn't it? But yeah, kids, that's where I found him. Fucking hell. Oh, it's a Dodge Charger. Fuck yeah. Don't mind a Dodge. Can buy cocaine, but barely a Coca-Cola. Damn inflations. You're fucking spot on there, Adam. You're spot on, mate. It's just terrible stuff. Oh, yeah, I wonder if Mippet's floating around. I forgot to say hello to everyone. Like Mippet, Julius will turn up. Robster and Sentry will be watching us on replay. People like P. Barnes. I forgot to say hello to all of you wonderful people. Hello to all of you. It's Wednesday, everyone. Shani, everyone that watches us on a fucking replay. Hello. Good to have you here. I forgot to say hello. I didn't mean to say it. So now I said, you know what he looks like? This guy, he looks like, what's his name? What was the actor's name? Ben Knightley? Does that sound right? He looks like, you guys ever seen Iron Man, the Mandalorian, not the Mandalorian, the Mandarin, right? He looks like that actor. I'm pretty sure it's Ben Kingsley or Knightley or something like that. He looks like him. Look at Chad
Yes,
here.
ma'am, I am.
Chad's grown up on a watermelon farm, hence the fucking broad shoulders. He's like, yeah, I've been taught to, if I want to get my way, just to be polite to people, so I'm going to call you ma'am and I'm going to puff my chest out because I once got molested by the guy behind me at youth fucking camp, but I'm not going to let that define who I am as a person. Yeah, I've had my arsehole plugged more times than a drain, but it's okay because I'm not going to let it define me. Harry, how the fuck are you, good mate? Kingsley, yeah, that's the man.
10-4, I'm not with him. We got her pulled over.
Get the fuck out of here, you dickhead. Oh,
You
no,
okay?
you're
Do you need any medical attention?
right. Would you like some penis attention? Because fucking old Chad over here, he's not going to help you out. Chad's going to fucking rub your inner thigh for 50 minutes and then ask if you came. That's all Chad's up for. That's all Chad's going to be able to do. Then he's going to fucking move on with life. G'day, Owen. Good to see you, mate. I get the reference. I get the reference.
Good. I was just down there. I heard the crash. Tried to stop her. No, we got the car stopped. Well, I heard it. I saw her coming at me, and she was coming straight at me. I telling her to stop. She wouldn't stop, so I had to.
She's
get out of the
coming
road
right
so she
for
couldn't
us.
hit me.
Yeah, right.
And then I went behind her car, tried to stop it. That's why, because I was running after her, and I had.
What the fuck is your t-shirt, man? Did you saw this shirt or this hoodie or whatever you want to call it, this fleece? G'day, Junk, how the fuck are you, mate? Oh, I see ya. You're over there. What are you doing there? Are you a new follower? I don't know. First time chatter. Are you a follower? Did you hit the follow button? We need more followers over there because when you hit the follow button over there, something really funny happens. I set it up to be really funny. So you need to do that. If you're over on Twitch, be a follower. Fucking, do it or I'll fucking stab you. Or I'll fucking snap you. And you'll see what happens. But this guy saw this hoodie, right? And he's gone, yeah, this is going to be $30 well spent. What the fuck is it? What is on your fucking... Oh, Jesus Christ.
A succulent Chinese meal.
Hey Captain, me and the wife want to take a vacation to Australia. Any suggestions on where to visit?
Good question, Trucker. Yeah, my house. Just come on over. We can swap wives or whatever you want to do. Anywhere, like... It all depends what you want to see. The Australian outback's always good. You got to go out into the woods, got to go into the bush and stuff, see some kangaroos in the wild. Don't worry about fucking heading off to a zoo. Those animals do fuck all. Go out into the actual wilderness, go out there, do a kangaroo call, wait for them to come over. You can hop in their pouch and you can ride them around for a little bit. That's always fun, right? Do not go to anywhere near the Emu Army encampment, as pointed out by by Safari. Stay away from that. Don't go near Victoria because it's a crime-ridden shithole, says the caveman, and I'm going to strongly agree with him there. But yeah, anyway, go and hug a koala. Koalas like being hugged. Just go and find any random koala. That's always a thing. Keep an eye out for drop bears, though. It's all right. You can avoid a drop bear attack by just putting some Vegemite behind your ears. They can't stand the smell or the taste. And that's pretty much the safety levels that you need to know about Australia. Go and find a blue-ringed octopus. Those things love fucking sitting on your hand. They also love killing kids too. That's kind of their thing. If you're ever walking around in a rock pool and you see a blue-ringed octopus, make sure you throw a child at it because they like killing kids. Not necessarily fully grown adults. They're not big fans of that, but they'll definitely kill a child. So feel free to do that. Redback spiders are really friendly to put in your pocket. Give that a go. Again, maybe hand it to a kid. If you don't like kids, Australia's the best place to fucking get rid of them. Let's be honest. Dingoes will eat them if you ask them. Well, you don't even need to ask them nicely. You just leave the tent zip opened a little bit. And then everything's all sorted.
Had another officer go after her, so...
Always smile at a crocodile. Make eye contact with an emu. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can try. Cassowaries love a fucking challenge, so go out there and try and fist fight a cassowary. They're always up for a good fight. But yeah, you're not going to go wrong. Go to Queensland. That's our version of fucking Florida. You'll enjoy that.
She's pulled over. Did you guys all see what happened?
We saw what happened.
Okay, can you guys hang out?
This guy's got his fucking best
Okay.
flip-flops on.
All right.
What the fuck is a dingo? How do you not know what a dingo is? A dingo eats babies. That's like their whole thing. They love eating them. A dingo's like it's a wild canine. It's not a dog. It's not a wolf. It's not a coyote. They're similar, I guess, in a similar sort of breed as a coyote, but they're a dingo. They're like a wild dog. We don't have rattlesnakes, but we've got brown snakes. They'll fucking eat you real quick. They'll bite you real hard. We've also got, you got to remember, we've got 7 of the top 10 most dangerous and deadliest snakes in this, like here, right here. There's about 7 of them out the fucking window. So knock yourself out. There's plenty of them out there, right?
All right, I'm assuming this hasn't moved from where
No,
she
ma'am.
hit you. Okay. So she was coming this way, I'm assuming.
A dingo ate
You
me,
guys gotta go
baby.
that way.
A dingo stole me esky. A dingo stole me fucking Fosters. That's probably the worst one I've seen. A dingo stole me beers. And then you see a dingo running down the street. He's got a fucking sixer in his mouth. You're like, dude, you didn't even pay for it.
Thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I assumed that she was coming this way, and me personally, I was going
Dingo's
out left,
Ringo's brother.
headed this way. I was really going home.
Okay, you were coming off the street here. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And so she was in this lane. Was she kind of in the middle, or?
I'm going to breath test
I
this
wouldn't
bloke. Have
even
a look at
know.
him.
I stopped at the stop sign like I'm supposed to, and then I was waiting, and I turned left.
Well, aren't you a fucking goody two-shoes, hey? What do you want, a fucking merit award? You want us to give you a little certificate of achievement? What the fuck? Why are you being so polite about stuff? You should be pointing at, that dirty whore hit my fucking car. I've got a root in this car. I was hoping to fuck her in the ass without a condom, and now I've got to fucking deal with this bullshit. This is ridiculous, and I am not going to stand for it.
Okay,
And then next
but
thing
she
I
was
know-
coming this way, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I just need your driver's license.
Of course.
Is the vehicle registered to you?
Of course.
Okay. All right.
Of
You
course.
My dear,
I
because
do.
you're a passenger for the accident report, I need to have your driver's license. Appreciate it.
All right, stop. Now, before you walk through the door of this liquor store and try and get money out of the drawer, you best think of the consequence. Who am I? I'm your motherfucking conscience. That's nonsense. Get into the fucking front of your car, bend her over and fuck her really hard. I mean, it's not that hard, is it?
Oh,
You
no.
fucking pelican.
The axle broken.
this shit ain't
It's
moving.
done. Yeah.
I don't care about the girl that hit you. I just think you're a complete and utter fuckwit, and I'm pretty sure I would have fought you at school. I think I would have kicked the absolute living piss out of you. I would have kicked 7 shades of shit into you just because you were too polite to people. You would have been that motherfucker at the front of the class going, excuse me, sir, the captain's out the back and he's having a cigarette. I would have fucking ashed out me cigarette on your face and then kicked you in the dick because you're a fucking loser. And then the teacher would have kicked the shit out of you for being a dibber-dobber because dibber-dobbers wear nappies, you dirty goat fucker.
Mother energy drink. Joke.
Of the day. Dingo Salty girlfriend. Okay, which one are we clipping? Me doing Dr. Dre.
This axle is fucked.
That's gonna get towed.
Kick him in the dick.
Great.
Look at this shirt. This is like a blotch test that the fucking therapist would show you. What do you see in this picture? I see a loser that should have got his ass handed to him when he was a child. I see someone that should be the poster child for abortions in fucking Texas. That's what I see. That's what I see. I see a fucking nerdy little prick that should have been having a few swirlies with me holding his ankles whilst constantly flushing the toilet. Fuck this dickhead. Oh, dibber-dobber. Haven't you guys had that one? A dibber-dobber. A dibber-dobber, someone that dobs in people, someone that that tells on you. Like they go and they dob you in. Like so they go and tell someone that you've done something naughty. They're a dibber-dobber. So a dibber-dobber wears nappies because you're a fucking child. Ed's here, everyone. Ed's here. Good to have you, Ed. Let me fucking play this for you, Ed. Oh, April's right. It looks like a squid has jizzed on his chest. Old Rusty Knob's been fucking busy over here. A snitch. Yeah, that's pretty much it. A snitch. A snitch is pretty much, that's exactly what I'm looking for. But a dibber-dobber sounds better. Imagine going to jail and like, so, yeah, a snitch is snitching on you and you're like, oh, he's a dibber-dobber. I feel like I'm going to tell on you just for saying the word dibber-dobber as a fully grown adult. A tattletale. That's right, Dave. A tattletale. How many people we got hanging around? 37 over here. How many people are on Twitch right now? 2. Yeah. Fucking 2 of yous. Rock on, Twitchers. I'm going to do this. How do I do that? How do I send it? Yeah, there we go. Yeah. There goes the face. Where'd the face go? There they are. I fucking love that. Those ones are cool. There's so many cool fucking emojis over there on that. All right, here we go.
Thank you.
So does your dad know that you drive a pussy-mobile?
My car is 2 blocks away, so I'm going to ask for another unit, but because I won't be able to enter anything in, so I'm going to take pictures of these. Are your addresses correct on both of these?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, Tyron's
In front of
Thursday.
Starbucks. The axle on this truck is broken, so we can't move it.
Twitches, bitches. He must be on witness protection. Yeah, I want to get that 25. That's what I need to get. I need to get 25 followers over there on the Twitch. I'll do the rest, but we need to get to 25 followers. Otherwise, Twitch will be like, you guys are fucking losers. And I don't want to be a fucking loser anymore. So yeah, go over and join. And when you join, something really cool happens. All you need to do is hit the follow button. It doesn't fucking cost you anything to follow. Like, it doesn't cost, like, it's like licking the like button. And anyone that hasn't licked the like button, well, you're going to get fucking teased. Everyone's going to point at you. Go and have a look at this fucking guy. He hasn't licked the fucking like button. How dare him? Oh, there you go. Look at that. Fucking JTD's already over there. He's Junko partner. There you go. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Hit him.
I
Run
don't
him
know,
over.
Zonina comes in with the car.
Not a problem.
Fucking pussies.
Did she stop at all, or did she just continue?
No, No, she just left.
Okay.
She just up and fucked off. Fuck me, mate. Why don't you tell her who shot JFK while you're at it? Why don't you tell her all about what Diddy did to you as a fucking child? Well, you just loved snitching. Let's just get you a snitch hat, right? Just get you a fucking nice little snitch hat and run around because you're a fucking snitch. Snitches get bitches. Oh, no, hang on. That's not right. No, snitches don't get bitches. Fuck you. Bitches don't deserve snitches.
I was just telling him my vehicle's 2 blocks away. I have another officer coming so we can get the computer.
Hey, you guys couldn't tell us where to buy some nice fucking IPAs by chance, because I bet you fucking could. Emanuela, have a good sleep. Have a good one. We appreciate you being around. Thank you so very much. I will be back a bit later, so you can come and hang around then again if you want. But yeah, these guys definitely know where to buy IPAs. They definitely fucking know, you know, they can tell you exactly where the nearest Whole Foods is.
Pulled over?
Yeah, I had another officer in a car, and so because I tried to make her stop, and she drove at me. So.
Stop right now.
You saw that too?
I saw you jump out there.
She's got a gun. Is that the Supremes? Is that Diana Ross and the Supremes in the background? Are they about to come up going, my baby love, my baby? They look like the Supremes. They do. They look like the fucking Supremes. Fuck me. Get your what? Take your hats off, guys. Show some respect. That's fucking Diana Ross, right? That's like the high level of respect is required here. Take your fucking hats off. Fuck me. People don't know how to be respectful these days.
I had to jump out of the way because she was going to hit me.
It's
So
the Supremes and the fucking and their pimp.
He was literally just making a clean turn, and she just fucking was going like 30 miles per hour down for no reason.
Yeah, we heard the noise, and then my neck snapped, and then she just flying.
Oh no, your neck snapped.
Yeah, she was. I went after I got out from in front of her car, so she didn't hit me. I went behind and tried to.
Don't you realize his neck snapped because he had to look left or right? Right? Don't you realize looking both ways is a fucking health hazard? She's got a gun.
Because her window was open on her driver's side. I tried to.
People were trying to flag her down, and she's just 10 and 2. Just
Yeah,
like
I saw her. I was just trying to make sure no people.
So she was driving
that
fine.
was my first concern because.
She was hammered for sure.
Unfortunately,
For sure.
do you guys have your IDs on you?
Oh,
Once
sure,
that
sure,
officer gets here, I can have all this stuff entered in.
No, for sure.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, officers caught up with the vehicle involved in the crash.
Meanwhile, elsewhere on the planet. This officer's got very feminine hands.
4-3 is going to be a white Kia Optima.
You moisturise at night, don't you, big fella? Who's Pyro? I mean, why is he fucking... Is Pyro me? No, he's fucking not. Oh, there you go. Nato's been licking stuff. His hands aren't the only thing that he moisturises. Yeah, I know that. Pyro is an Australian too, by the way. I don't even know him. Tell him to get the fuck off me thing. This is my territory. Unless he's good, and then tell him to come over on my stream.
4-3, I think I got the vehicle at 1601 me.
All right, let's see this hardened criminal, shall we? Who's decided to park in a back alley. She's in a loading dock because she's wanting to get loaded of cock. So that's a fair call. That's how it happens. Oh, he's British. Well, he's fucking nothing like me then. She's in the loading dock.
Romeo
I'm looking for
uniform,
cock.
Papa 01 QRU P01 white Kia Optima. You can open it, Sam.
What's up?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm
What's
Officer
up?
Marlon for Mars, please.
Look at the fucking eyes on you. This is the eyes that you make when you're looking up from a head job, isn't it? These are the fucking look into the camera eyes. That's exactly what that is, and I'm all for it.
Department.
Am I able to get out?
I mean,
Why?
you can
Where
open
you
the door
going?
if you want to. But I don't know if you noticed your car is...
Yeah, I know. I hit that fucking car. Well, that car hit me.
Okay, is there any reason you didn't stop?
What
Oh.
do you mean?
Because when you're in an accident, you stop. These are the normal things that people get taught. I like your legs, though. They're pretty cool legs.
I was banging on your window right there. My partner was in front of you, like right here, telling you to stop the car. You looked at me.
No, sir. I didn't hear you.
You didn't hear me at all?
You can't park there,
You
mate.
didn't hear anybody yelling, stop, stop, stop.
No, sir.
Do you have your license with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There's a lot of yes sir, no sirs going on.
Lucio, I need you to come over here, please. It doesn't matter. I need you to come over here.
Yeah, let's get him here arrested as well.
Is this your car?
Yes, sir.
Why have you got a baby seat in the back? Where's your baby? Fucking dingo attack. Oh my god, there's a dingo on the loose wherever the fuck we are in this video. Oh my god, someone stole a kid. Or she sold it for crack.
You have my location, no?
You got pretty good damage.
Have a good sleep, Owen.
I think I hit a car.
Well, there's no thinking about it. You did it.
You don't have any weapons or any firearms in the vehicle?
No,
correct?
sir.
Okay.
Just these titties. She's got good legs. Look at the fucking thighs on that. Do you reckon she does the thigh master, or has she got a stair lift? Like what? How do you get good thighs like that? I feel like that takes a little bit of effort, right? She does some squats. What is the deal? Whatever it is, she looks like she could crush fucking watermelon in between them. And if she could crush watermelon in between her thighs, fucking Nathan, he's going to get the biggest erection you've ever seen. I guarantee it. If he knew that this lady could crush watermelon in between her thighs, he'd be like, fuck yeah. This sticks the two fucking main boxes that I need for an erection. Beep, beep. Fucking coconuts. I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Diddle-a-dee-dee. Here they are sitting in a row. Boom, boom, boom. G'day, Jim. I bet her baby ate the dingo. Without a fucking shadow of a doubt, mate. Without a shadow of a doubt. Let's watch her on Chatbait. I'm not paying money for that.
Got pretty good damage, so.
I think I hit a car.
Well, no shit.
Hey,
Thighs tell no lies.
No, sir. Lucio, I send you my location.
Don't have anybody come here. Don't have anybody come here.
No?
No.
When do you get in a car accident, or you have to deal with law enforcement, where does your brain go with, I know who'll enjoy this? Fucking Tom. Tom will get a good kick out of this. Fucking, I'll get him on the phone. Hey, Tom, you're not going to believe this. I fucking did it again, right? We know that you like watching law enforcement. Ever since YouTube and Twitch disappeared and we know that you need some entertainment, why don't you come down and watch police fucking interactions live in person? Yeah, the chances in seeing a body camera these days, now that those two things don't exist, is very, very rare, but I feel like you should come down, record the scene on your fucking camcorder, and then we'll sell the fucking tape down at the local fucking black markets over the weekend. Come on down, mate. Oh, I saw the word banana launcher in there from James 10. That just reminds me. Come, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana. She could tally all of the bananas. She would be able to count with both fucking hands and both feet and how many bananas that she can fit in her body. She'll be like, I have a whole bunch of fucking bananas that I can poke in. 1 batch, 2 batch, 3 batch, 4. Right, she's all for it. Harry Belafonte knew about this girl back in the early 80s, and he wrote a song about her going, this Sheila loves fucking bananas. She's loving them so much that we've just called her the tally man, because that's all she does. She just tallies up fucking bananas like she's some kind of bullshit accountant for the fucking Fruit Foundation. You know what I mean? Right.
Mother energy drink.
I'm taking it.
Joke
of the day.
No, I was just picking up Leticia.
Hey, where you going?
Leticia. She was at Skybar.
Dave, Opal, I'll give her 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot, hop. I'm giving it to you.
Mother energy drink.
I'm giving it to you.
Joke
of the day. Well done, Opal. You get it. I fucking like it. It's a good joke.
I was picking up Leticia.
Go I said gay, oh, suck some cock and then me gonna go home.
She was at Sky Bar.
Gay! I said gay, I said gay, I said gay.
I was picking up Leticia.
Daylight come and me wanna go.
Because she said she couldn't drive, and then she was like, oh, I'm gonna have the nigga come pick me up.
Why are you just letting... This is not fucking Who Wants to Be a Dick in Air. Get her out of the fucking car and start stomping her fucking throat in. There is nothing a good throat punch can't fix. And you guys need to step up the game and start crushing some fucking larynxes before this gets out of hand.
I don't know. I sent you my location.
You just said you can't have nobody cool with it.
But I need you to come get my car.
Yeah, fully agree with you, Adamus. No, Kat, what have you been arrested for? Many things. Mostly a lot of bestiality stuff. Like fucking more than you'd expect. Right? You know, think about any time that you've heard of bestiality and triple that, that's kind of what I've gone to jail. Not so much because of the bestiality. It's more that they like me to conduct TED Talks to fucking kids and try and scare them straight. Because I'll be like, you know what's going to happen, right? People like me that like to fuck animals are going to dress you up like a furry and just bury our fucking cocks in you, right? That's how it's going to work. So come on down. Oh, look at this. We're getting some scores in already. 0.24 alcohol-wide. Fuck me. Here we go.
Don't have anybody come here.
Uh-oh.
Hey, don't be...
All right. I think we've reached it. She's starting to fuck around in the car. She's starting to fucking get it going. She's going to get it. Can I try to look up your arrest record? Go for it, if you can find it. It's been sealed because of how much bestiality was involved. Ladies and gentlemen, I think she's about to play our favourite game, so let's hold hands together as she plays Fuck Around and find out.
Reach it. Get out of the car. I'm sorry. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Yes, ma'am.
Fights on!
I'm okay.
There's the Sarge. What is going on with her skirt? Does that skirt not have sides? Look at that. You can see her. You can see her bum cheeks and stuff. What is the charge? And how do we get it? Because that is unfucking believable. That is awesome. What a cool dress. Let her go. Just let her go now. This is great. You know, she's caught up in a fishnet like she was fucking, a 2003 tsunami. It's fucking unbelievable. What's going on there? It's a dumpster arrest, says Jim. I think this is great. I like everything about this video. Julius is here. G'day, Julius. How the fuck are you? You're just in time, good son. Look at this nerdy fuck.
I'm okay.
At least it's nice and aerated. I'd buy that for $1. I'm going to tell you the same thing I told that fucking Taiwanese hooker. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. Spencer's has that dressed as ballerina? How do we get that? How do we get... Isn't Spencer's like a Halloween shop? Is that what it is?
She was trying to put the keys back in there.
She uses the fishnet for trawling. I like that. That's fucking... That is good fucking... That is good thinking there. That is fucking good thinking there, Kendall. I like it. I'm going to give you this. Fucking fishnets for trawling.
Mother energy drink.
Joke of the day. Mother! And this guy in the middle looks like Brad from fucking Rocky Horror Picture Show. He's like, our car broke down out the front. No, I need to get fucked by a transvestite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on, is the sergeant a woman? Well, fuck, I owe someone a Coke. What the fuck is that dress? It's like she's wearing an apron.
Yes, sir. Luciano.
Oh, okay, it's a joke headshot. It's yours.
In front of my car.
Yeah, Tim Curry would be at home right now stroking his cock because, you know, he had a stroke and all that. I want to see a Spencer's. Spencer's sounds unfucking real. I'm gonna have to check that out after the show. You've arrived on a rather special night. It's one of the master's affairs. Jugs, how are you, son?
My body camera.
I think we all just need to get fucked at some stage, man.
My body camera fell off somewhere around here.
There it is. We found it. It's over here. Oh, getting warmer. Oh, super hot. No, cold.
My
Warming.
body
Getting
camera.
warm. Getting warmer. Oh, you found me.
Those magnets are great.
You found me.
If you hadn't called me here, I was gonna completely lie.
What's that?
I said make sure, you know.
How about you fuck off?
What was that?
Stay on some funny shit, you know that?
She's got a gun. Mate, fuck off. Who are you? No, this isn't phone a whore. Just fucking move along. Get to stepping. Get in your shitmobile and fuck off.
What was it?
I said make sure.
You said something about homosexual?
I'm not homosexual.
Something about homosexual? What was that?
I said make sure there ain't no homosexual.
Have a good night.
Fuck off, you cocksucker.
Yeah, have a good night.
Did he just say make sure there's no homosexuals? Is that what you're saying? Dude, I know you were in Trump's America, but you can't just make it obvious. For fuck's sake, man.
You said something about homosexual?
I'm not homosexual.
Something about homosexual? What was that?
I said make sure there ain't no homosexual.
Have a good night.
Make sure there's no homosexuals over there. Dude, what are you going on about? I've got 40 viewers. Cool. Hello, all 40 of you. How are yous all? How's everyone's tits and dicks? How's everyone hanging? I don't know what I've got going over on Twitch. I think I've only got one. I think I've only got one person hanging over there on Twitch, but that's all right. Worst things can happen. Yeah, I'm going to have to say, oh, DJ, how are you, mate? I'm with Adamus on this one. I'm going to have to say it. He's like, please make sure there's no fucking homosexuals over there. What in the actual fuck are you on about? Make sure there's no homosexuals over there. What do you think the homosexuals are going to do, mate? They're going to come running with cake or something, are they? You think they're going to try and fuck you? This is the thing that I don't understand about people that don't like gay people. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to fuck you, are they? Are you like, oh, I can't stand these homosexuals always trying to fuck me. No, they're not. They don't like you because you're a fucking ugly dickhead, right? So they're not trying to fuck you. Right, then gay people aren't just walking around with their dicks out going, geez, I can't wait to fuck someone. Anyone will do. I don't mind. You're not even that attractive, mate. If a woman doesn't find you attractive, the chances in a gay man finding you attractive are fucking zero. Not only that, gay women are fun to watch. Like super duper fun to watch. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but there's a certain website on the internet. I think there's only one, but you can type in a word like women kissing, right? Which is, you know what I'm saying? Right? So you type in women kissing, and then there's all these videos of women kissing. I'm not sure what the internet site's called, and as I said, I'm pretty sure there's only one site that offers that service, but you can do it, right? You can just Google women kissing, and it's going to take you to the site, and you're going to be able to watch the video of women kissing, and that's fucking good, right? That's how it is. What the fuck, man? Gay women are fun to watch.
Here's the charge. Eating a meal.
Oh.
A succulent Chinese meal.
Look at Julius dropping coin. Here you go, he says. Have some of that. Have some of that, he says.
I need about 350.
So there you go, right? You're going to drop fucking gay women fun to watch. Gay men, you know, some people like watching gay men kiss. That's fine too, right? I've seen gay men kiss. I got no problem with that. Let them fucking kiss, right? They're not trying to fuck you, though. They're not chasing you down the street going, get back here with your fucking black ass. Oh, I want to bury me dick in there like a dingo with a fucking baby corpse. No, they're not doing that. Lee, how are you, mate? Haven't seen you in ages. Welcome back.
Yeah, have a good night.
Look out, there's dick. All right, guys, if any of you are homosexual, we're going to have to ask you to leave. We're going to have to ask you to just head off, right? We're upsetting the fucking locals. So if there's any gay homosexuals here, I need you to fuck right off, all right? The voice of the voiceless.
Let's talk to a lawyer for advice before asking you any questions and to have them with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, it won't be appointed for you for any questioning if you wish. If you decide to answer questions without a lawyer present, you'll still have the right to stop answering any time.
And if you know any gay men, you're going to get fucking executed in the morning.
You also have the right to stop answering any time until you talk to a lawyer. You understand each of these rights I've explained to you?
Yes, sir.
Have you previously requested...
Do you mean like a flaming... No, he didn't say anything about flaming homosexuals. He just said homosexuals in general, right? DJ, I'm only gay on... Yeah, well, mate, I don't blame you. I'm gay for me too. BH... S is here. How the hell are you, good son? Don't look behind the dumpster. You're going to find a whole bunch of gay men behind there. Everyone knows that's where the gay men like to hang out. They like to hang out behind the dumpster. You know, everyone knows that about gay men. That's just science, isn't it? All right, where'd my video go? How did that fucking disappear again? I didn't even touch it.
Myself or my partner to speak to a lawyer?
No, sir.
With these rights in mind, do you wish to speak to me now?
No, sir.
No? Okay.
I'll speak to you, mate. You look like a nice guy. Is there any pro guard in the car? I missed that. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm pretty gay for the nightcap too. Like, there's been times I've looked at myself in the mirror and went, yeah, I could probably jerk it to this.
Alright, help you.
I keep on knocking, but you can't come in. He's got a red light disco happening there inside the car. That's bloody good. She won't be able to shoot heroin now. That's terrible. Have you ever noticed that? You go into a bathroom and the blue lights are there and you think, now I can't fucking shoot heroin. This is terrible. So then you have to go to some kids' park. And, oh my God, there we go. Better out than in. She is perfectly fine to be driving a vehicle. I don't see any issues here. She's done a great job. She's fucking... Why don't we get her out and do some fucking field sobriety tests now? Let's see how she goes with that. I've got an idea. Let's have a spelling contest. Hit it with the fire hose.
Woo!
What the fuck have you been drinking?
Yeah. Huh?
You're not going to eat that, are you? The police canine unit's on his way, so I just want to make sure you don't want it before the dog finds it. Yeah, this copper's like, I'm out. She's your problem. Yeah, you're right. At least you did it outside the car. I still hit it with the fire hose, though.
It smells like it.
Yeah, it does.
I'm so sorry.
You're okay. Yeah, you should be.
Fall out. Don't pick on me.
We're gonna have EMS come check on you, okay?
I'm okay.
She agrees to talk about it.
Harry, she's blowing chunks. Her dog's name's Chunks.
Mother energy drink.
Joke of the day. Mother! Oh, I love it. Yeah, we got a bit of splatter. Oh, that's where you went wrong. How are you, Stu?
But when I get there, how am I going to make a phone call?
With the telephone.
So when we transfer custody from us to the sheriff's office at the jail, they'll allow you to open up your phone and get 3 phone numbers from there.
Okay.
It's a succulent Chinese meal. Oh, James 10, you're on it.
Mother energy drink.
Joke of the day. Mother! Brendan, how are you, brother? How many people are hanging out on Twitch, by the way? How many of you have Twitch? How many of you want to get Twitch just to help me out? I want someone to follow so we can see the new follower thing that turns up. That's what I want to see.
So due to your level of intoxication, okay, I don't believe that doing standardized field exercises would be the safest.
Well, there's a fucking smart idea.
So,
mate, she just did the field sobriety exercise by fucking chucking up her vodka dinner all over the fucking lawn.
Can you stand over here with her real quick?
Yeah, can you stand in? Can you just touch that? I don't want to touch it. Kendall thought the dingo's name was Chunks.
In conclusion, she was arrested for DUI.
She's pretty, though. She is pretty.
Hit and run, aggravated assault, and moving traffic violation with a suspended license.
Boom, boom.
What you've just seen is a stark reminder of the grave dangers and devastating consequences that come with driving under the influence. Every decision to drink and get behind the wheel not only puts your life at risk, but endangers the lives of innocent people on the road.
Oh, duh. We've known that since fucking drink driving became illegal, mate. This is not, you're not breaking new ground here. Fuck me. Fuck me, ladies and gentlemen. Fuck me. Please. Oh, Brendo, he wants to go and twitch up, he reckons. He's ready to twitch up. Oh, there comes some fishies. If you're going to do it quick, because I want to see this follow thing turn up. Because it's not going to happen if I play a song. You won't see it. I want to see it before we go. That's if you're going to do it. If you're not going to do it, then wait until we come back. Well, whatever the situation is. Yeah, drink drivers, mate. You can't trust them, can't shoot them. That's just how it is, sadly. That's just the world that we live in. 3. What's 3? Oh, okay. 2, 3. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, she's a fucking good one, isn't she? She is a decent one. Oh, okay, we're doing a count. That's what Adamus was doing. I was trying to work out what his count was. All right, so what we're going to do, oh, there's a whole bunch of green ticks. Look at them go. Bing, 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 bing. Oh, yeah, that's right. Beatty's already is following us on Twitch over there. That's bloody cool. All right, so we're going to go to a quick musical interlude. Right? Oh. I don't know. Where's that going? Where are you off to, mate? All right, so let's go to a quick song. If you're going to join Twitch, wait until we come back. Wait until we come back because we want to see the follow on the screen. So don't hit the follow button until we come back. Yeah? We're all in this together. We're all in this together. Don't fuck it up. We'll be back in about 6.5 minutes. Don't go too far. Whoop. Ah. Well played.
I'm a sovereign citizen, this road is mine. I've got a national ID, you have a Freemason sign. No chance of license, no rules to bind. And the badge doesn't care that I'm out of my fucking mind. Cuffed my hands, they lock me tight. I don't know laws and I'm too fat to fight. Free as air, but here I stand. Silly Billy, stupid face caught by the lawman's hand. I'm a silly Billy, stupid face. Motherfucking silly Billy, stupid face. No registration, no dick to pull. I'm driving free. Yeah, I've swallowed YouTube's pill. Insurance, please. No, I don't need their lies. And now there's blue and red lights flashing through my freedom skies. Cuffed my hands, they lock me tight. I don't know laws and I'm too fat to fight. stupid face caught by the lawman's hand. I'm a silly Billy, stupid face. Motherfucking silly Billy, stupid face. They read the books, they know the drill, but my spirit's strong, my will is still. My trifold paper, they can't control. I'm a sovereign fire, a fucking arsehole. Cuff my hands, they lock me tight. I don't know laws and I'm too fat to fight. Free as air, but here I stand. Silly Billy, stupid face caught by the lawman's hand. I'm a silly Billy, stupid face. Motherfucking silly Billy, stupid face.
Keep still here, why won't he fuck off? They sent him to hell, but he got fucking lost. He smells so bad it can make you sick. He just hangs around like a homeless prick. Keith's gotta go, I can't take anymore. He's a fucking asshole, right into the core. Keith arrived earlier this year. I thought it would be cool to have a demon near. I was very wrong, I know this now. On the first night, he was fucking a cow. He wanted to go swimming with friends when the weather was warmer. That was the last we heard from Malcolm Jamal. Warner said wrestling is a sport full of fakers. So he said Hulk Hogan to the Undertakers. Why won't he fuck off? They sent him to hell, but he got fucking lost. He smells so bad it could make you sick. He just hangs around like a homeless prick. Keith's gotta go, I can't take anymore. He's a fucking asshole, that is for sure. Keith loves to jerk it down at the plaza. Thought it would be funny to send Greta to Gaza. Keith really doesn't care what anyone thinks. Told Lady Di's driver to enjoy another drink. It's sad to say Keith's here to stay. Said all of my clothes were fucking gay. Thinks the ice raids are just the beginning. Convinced Deepwater Horizon to just keep drilling. Why won't he fuck off? They sent him to hell, but he got fucking lost. He smells so bad it can make you sick. He just hangs around like a homeless prick. Keith's gotta go, I can't take anymore. He's a fucking asshole, that is for sure. How the fuck can I get Keith to go? He's the reason The View is a show. Says them old ladies he would like to fuck. Keith hired McVeigh, the rider's truck. Told Ted Kaczynski the government's tail. Then gave him stamps to send his mail. Sent his crazy train to East Palestine. Said the Ever Given would fit just fucking fine. Fucking Demon Keith is here for good, so throw away your crucifix one. Religion and prayers will give you no relief. We all just have to live with fucking Keith teased Cobain and handed the gun. Said to Heath Ledger, one more pill just for fun. He told Britney to shave that head and dared Michael Jackson to share his bed. Keith told Tanya Hardin to smack a knee and don't miss. He's the one who said R. Kelly had to piss. He sold the drugs that Elvis took and called the Nazis fucking sacks. He's still here, why won't he fuck off? They sent him to hell, but he got fucking lost. He smells so bad it could make you sick. He just hangs around like a homeless prick.
Keith, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. That was the last of the Venom Vultures when it comes to Keith, they say. They've done their trilogy. Will Keith make a return, or is it all now about Rusty Knob? I don't know. You'll just have to keep watching and finding out. That's how this works. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there on Twitch, now's the time. Now's the time to hit that follow button. Let's see if we can see it turn up here in the about here-ish. There it is. Yeah! It worked! It worked! That worked! Yay! It fucking worked! Hey, turkey your jab! Wow, Jesus. All these things fly. I don't know. They took your jab! Oh, that is the best! They took your jab! That's the best! Thank you, Kendall! Oh, thank you, fucking big head! Look at that! That's cool as shit! Fucking pelicans! That is awesome! That is fucking awesome as shit! That was like the greatest. That was so worth it, wasn't it? That was worth hanging around for. It's the little thing. You're right. It's the little things that excite me. I fucking love it. That was so cool. Hey, turkey your jab. Took your jab. I'm so easily impressed. So fucking easily impressed. Okay, we're going to do another video. This one apparently has slipped through the keeper a few times. Beauty mentioned this one. He's like, this has been missed too many times, he says. Too many times. It's about time we fucking have a crack at it. I don't know anything about it. There's a Florida woman. That's all I know, right? As everyone does. It's always a fucking Florida woman. Always. They took your job. You're coming over here and you're taking my job. They took his job. They took your job. All right, so these ones apparently, this video from bodycams has slipped through the keeper too many times. We can't stand it anymore, says Beauty. He's like, fucking hell, how many times do I need to suggest this video? And I thought maybe 6, but then 6 was too many. Also, if you want to join Twitch, on the top of the pinned post on top of the chat is the link to Twitch. Feel free to join it, you know. Maybe you can be a fucking pelican and see it turn up on the screen, and then I go, hey, take your jab! I think I'd do a really good version of that, by the way. I'm just saying. All right, here we go. Let's see what it's all about.
Y'all gotta come make a report. I'm reporting this.
You're report? Oh my God, she's reporting it. We all need to go there and do a report or something. All right, we'll start here because I don't know what's going on. Someone's yelling.
What's your name?
They took your job. All right, so someone's coming. Someone's having a bit of a yelly, screamy match.
Turn around, place your hands behind your back.
Oh, we are instantly there. There is 0 fucks coming from this officer. This officer just did a full week's worth of work at the no fuck farm. There was a big no fuck drought happening. And they're like, dude, you need to go into the farm and see if you can freshly pick any fucks. And he's like, but there's been a fuck drought. There's been no fuck water to grow any of the fuck plants. And now there is 0 fucks for me to even try and harvest. There's no fuck harvest available on this game. And the coppers were, get out there and try and find at least one. There's got to be at least one fuck in this farm. We planted a whole group of fucks the other week, and then we watered the fucks for a little bit, and now there should be some fucks. But he's gone out there with his fuck shovel, he's looking around, he's got his fuck harvester working, and there was 0, none, zip, no fucks at all to be given. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's turned up with no fucks left in the fuck budget, and he is ready to play straight away our favourite game, Fuck Around and Find Out.
Turn around, place your hands behind your back.
Oh, taser!
Drop the phone. Turn around, place your hands behind your back.
I don't think so.
Drop the phone. Drop the phone out of your hand.
She knows her, hang on, whoa, mate. She said she knows her rights. Come on. That's like, That's like throwing a fucking healing potion in Dungeons and Dragons. She's rolled a fucking D5 or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know how that works. Right? She's plucked a duck or she's fucking spun the Wheel of Fortune. She's done something, right? She's throwing out the I have my rights fucking card.
I'm talking Drop the phone out of your hand. I'm going to tell you one time. Drop the phone.
One time.
528. I'll meet up with 5.
Is she a fan of one testicle Lance Armstrong? Is that one of those fucking
phone?
I support a fucking I support him getting cancer. Whatever the fuck, I don't know what it was.
528. I'll meet up with 532.
Yeah, you're right, mate. The fuck harvest was disseminated this entire year.
Okay.
You are straight into the fucking cuffs, young lady.
Yes, please.
Reach 7 headphones.
Give me
I will have one female detained.
I want to legally. Wait, my purse is back there. My purse.
Grab it.
Oh, well, stuff, shit. Too bad you know your rights, and there's nothing in your rights that says I need to pick up your fucking purse. You told me in the Constitution where it states that. Fucking nowhere. You would have a better chance having fucking Freddy Krueger come around and fist fuck you for $40 than that ever happening, all right?
Yeah, grab all the evidence, too. I want it all.
I want it all.
Cooked with me this time. Y'all ain't leaving out.
Holy shit, she's got a demon.
Thank you. I'm sorry. You're being tested. So am I. I can
What?
do this. What to do?
Why are you breaking into a car in this parking lot?
Let's back up and listen to that 911 call that led deputies to this parking lot.
That's a fucking great idea, mate. This is called exposition. That should have been at the fucking beginning of the video, right? Well, here we go. This is the Lee County Sheriff's Office speaking. Is that how they answer the phone? Like, hello, Lee County Sheriff's Office speaking.
Lee County Sheriff's Office speaking. How may I help you?
Oh, I was right.
Yes, sir. Listen.
Michael from FMPD. I have a female on the line.
It's okay. It's okay. I don't care. I don't care. Just send a unit. I'm at the Cadillac dealership right now. I need the keys to this car. It goes to somebody named with the last name, and I can't find the keys. I need some assistance.
All right, so you want to steal a car at the Cadillac dealer, and you need a bit of help doing that. I don't know. That's what we could call law enforcement for. If we just want to steal shit, we just give them a call going, yeah, get out, mate. Like, I'm at the front of the bank. And I understand they have money in there and I have none. So if someone could come down with the keys and open the bank and I can get some money and I'll just be on my merry little way. Yeah, can you send a unit? I don't care. Someone with the keys.
What is your location right now, ma'am?
Cadillac dealership.
I'm at the Cadillac dealership on Brantley and 41. Send as many units as you want. Make sure they bring the cameras and everything.
What's going on, ma'am?
Awesome.
Okay.
Oh, you know, it's my birthday and I didn't know.
Oh, happy birthday! Go to the Cadillac dealer. It's your birthday. We're going to steal cars like it's your birthday. We're going to party like it's your birthday. And you're going to suck some cock because it is your birthday.
I didn't know I was really related to Princess, or what's that lady's name? Queen Elizabeth. I'm really related to Queen Elizabeth, and I'll tell you all how I put it together.
Okay, cool. It's a shame she's dead. But sorry, I didn't realize that you were related to the Queen of England, who's currently very, very dead. But I appreciate what you're doing. So let's try and put all this into perspective from this fucking crazy shit, right? Can't do Twitch subs until the captain meets certain... Yeah, we need to get 25 followers over there. We need to get 25. Let's get 25 over there. Let's get them over there, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone get involved. Everyone get it. Everyone get it going. Okay, so she's fucking... All right, so we've got... She wants to steal a car by getting the keys. She's having a birthday, which is always great. Happy birthday. And now she's related... She thought it was Lady Di, but she's very, very dead. So now it's Queen Elizabeth, who, by the way, is also very dead.
Are you having a medical... Ma'am? Are you
yeah, mate.
No.
Yeah, she fucking is.
Sir, are you kidding me? No, don't send an ambulance. No, because then that's going to waste their time. No, I'm completely intact. I'm not going out tonight. Can't nobody kill me. I can't even kill me.
Oh, don't challenge us. don't challenge us, because we can fucking probably do it. I'm going to be honest with you.
Can't kill me. Y'all can't kill me.
What's your
You
name?
get me?
Ain't nothing going to break my stride. Ain't nothing going to hold me down. Oh, no, because I'm going to keep on looting, okay?
I don't know, because my birth certificate is a fraud.
This is brought to you by Truth Finder. That is the greatest thing ever. This is great. She's spinning shit, and the bodycam's fucking sponsorships come up on the screen. Truth Finder. Let's find out whether or not she's related to the Queen. Fuck me drunk.
So I can rename myself. And technically, when I was arrested at 17, they booked me under the wrong name. So I want to be exonerated of all
you're
those
free to go.
charges. Christy Lee Turman. But y'all booked me in 2005
what's your phone number in case you and I get disconnected?
Like when I hang up on you.
We never disconnect from anybody. We're always in loop.
Okay, what's your phone number?
I got two numbers.
What's your phone number?
I got. Yeah, it's 911. It hasn't changed.
Okay.
863 area code 007 because I'm James Bond.
Oh, it's James Bond.
Okay. And what's your
You
name?
don't get it. You're supposed to laugh. Dude.
What was your name
Your
again?
life must be hard. Christy Lee Turman.
Is that with a K or a C?
Ah,
I don't know. You guess. We're gonna redo my freaking.
She is very fucked up, isn't she? Like she's like her brain's checked out for the night. It's gone. I'm going on holidays. The fucking the tits have got this. You tits are in charge. I'm out of here.
My birth certificate. I get to redo my birth certificate too. They did tell me they wanted me to work with the vital statistics. Yes, they
right.
did.
Okay.
Speaking of birth certificate, when were you born?
I can't tell you because it says 1987, but I was really conceived in 1986. So you choose.
Okay.
No, when you fell out of the vagina, it's technically your birth date. Your conceivement date is completely irrelevant, right? A lot of people were born in 1987 that were conceived in 1986, because that's how conception works. There's like 9 months between firing off some goo tubes into your mum's fucking, pink palace to you fucking sliding out of the shit slide. You know what I mean? Like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. She's got to keep on moving.
What do you? I think I like 1986 better because it's got a 6. Oh shit! It's got a 6. And what do you get when you put a 9 next?
Oh, hang on a minute. She was born in 96. Okay, so fuck. How do I do this again? There. 6'7", baby. 6'7". Yeah, clock it. A fucking boom. 6'7", bitches. 6'7". Yeah.
69. We in reverse.
69. Dinner for
like
2 with a
everything that happened to
view.
me,
69.
It's just like in reverse.
That's the reverse calendar. That's about 50 on the list.
Oh, what a fucking amazing life this is.
I gotta ask. So
are you
okay,
fucking
right?
crazy?
You're not having a medical emergency?
Of course. No, sir. I might have high blood pressure, but it's amazing. You should try it.
Having low blood pressure is amazing.
And what was your reason for the call tonight?
Because I'm trying to steal a car that's not legally mine. So.
I have no defense for this, Your Honor. That's all the public defender can say at that moment. We're just going to listen to the 911 call. Oh, please don't. Objection. What's the objection? Well, it's really bad for my client if you play that. Like, that is like the key evidence. You know what I mean? So if we could not do that, you'd be doing me a solid. I'm going to allow it, though.
Y'all got to come make a report. I'm reporting this. And I'm not even the one trying to steal it. I just need the keys.
You heard that right. A woman identified.
She looks perfectly fine.
As 37-year-old Christy Turman called deputies to report that she was committing a crime. But that's not all Christy has to say. Let's continue.
So we might need the Cadillac dealership because it belongs to hold on, let me give you the name first. Something. And Anthony was in the car with me when I lost my first child.
Where did you leave it? I hate when people, I lost my first child. Well, go looking. You can't, it's not like a TV remote. You can't go, I'll find it eventually when I want to change the channel. No, go and find it, right? Fuck me. Put up a flyer or something.
When they sacrificed my first child in a car accident. So that's not a coincidence. And, okay. So
what are you wearing right now?
It's probably not the right time to ask that. I like crazy women too, but I don't think you're at work, mate. You know what I mean? Like maybe you should save that and talk to her later. I think this is the one that we go for. So what are you wearing? Another dingo statistic.
Mother energy drink.
I'm giving it to you.
Joke
of the day. Mother! Did she check under the couch cushions, says Warren. It's always in the last place that you find it.
I'm appalled, sir. Don't you have
we all are.
Well, if
don't you have satellites?
You got satellites. You work for the police department. You are asking me what I'm wearing right now?
Yes, so my deputy.
You know who you work for?
Yes, I do, and I'm asking you for in case my deputies need to readily identify you.
Can you guess? Okay,
I'm going to say something that's fuckwitish. You've dressed like a fuckwit. That's what I'm going to go with. You dress like a complete and utter fucking idiot. You're a fucking pelican. There's a whole, I'm going to just tell my deputy, try and find the dopey looking bitch. That's all I'm going to tell you. Hey, go to the Cadillac dealer, look for a fucking idiot. Go looking. You'll find them. They're probably fucking, she's probably fucking wrist deep inside a goat. You know, just, you're going to find her. It's not going to be a hard fucking guess.
Not over the phone.
Come on.
Not over the phone.
Damn.
A little black dress.
I just want to know that you're all right. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, but I don't want to go to jail.
Well, you're going to go to jail.
What's that?
I'm not going to jail no more.
Was the dingo driving or traveling us, Kendall? That's a good one. I like that.
Jail don't want me. Prison don't want me. Hell don't want me. Heaven ain't ready for me yet. I'm going to be president.
Don't go dragging this. Well, you know what? I would normally say that's a crazy remark. Oh, I'm going to be president. We used to not believe people when they said that, and then we all know what happened. Someone said, I'm going to be president, and then they became president. We're like, maybe that wasn't a great idea. And then everyone was like, no, it's a great idea. So it's a win-win and a win-lose for most people. But yeah, we just can't, like Kanye West said he was going to be president. We all sort of laughed it off, and then someone actually voted for him, and we're like, what?
Can't make this up. I swear. I'm so powerful and crazy and mentally challenged.
I believe the last bit.
But it is a blessing.
I reckon we just found who summoned Keith. I think we figured it out. This must be Keith's missus. Someone summoned Keith and she's come up looking for him like, has anyone seen fucking Keith? I'd vote for her before I voted for Hillary.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus. Don't go dragging Jesus in
Oh,
this.
do you really? Do you really? Are you crazy too?
Yeah, a little.
No.
Probably not my kind of crazy.
No.
Whoa.
Probably
Your movie would be way different than my movie.
Probably not, man. Just,
this guy has switched off.
Okay.
So where...
Visitor pass.
So
April 23rd.
This probably is Keith.
Let me cut you off real quick. Where are you at right now? What's the name of the Cadillac
I need something to drink. I told you I'm in the Cadillac dealership on 41 and Bradley in Fort Myers, Florida. Come on now, I'm calling your police. Can y'all stop asking me stupid questions before I fire all of you?
Can you stop acting the fool?
Please, please. I know y'all are very intelligent if y'all working in your office. And if you're not, we're going to have to make some adjustments.
That we are, ma'am. All right, well, I'm just going to stay on the phone with you. Did you want to speak
to can you look something up? While I have you on the phone, can you look something up for me?
Now I understand why Keith left, to be honest. We all thought Keith was the worst. But no, I think we found a new one.
His
name is...
There's one person that would probably get real fucking excited by her. They'd see her and be like, fucking...
Well, I have something to fucking tell you.
I need about $350.
But the guy that was driving the car...
Florida woman, stay away from
whether
me.
Whether he knew at the time or not.
Florida woman,
I love him.
fucking let me be.
And his birthday was May 18th. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sorry. One more time. So you
Hit
are
me,
saying
baby,
you are at the Cadillac.
I'm trying to steal a car. I already opened it illegally. There's no biometrics on this car. I'm in the parking lot. Y'all gonna come right up and report, and y'all are gonna get in trouble for not responding quick enough. Because if this is a Grand Theft Auto for real, y'all just failed. Come on now, we're Black Ops.
Yeah, we're Black Ops, motherfuckers. What the hell?
So you have a vehicle open there at the Cadillac. What was the make and model?
Oh hell yeah! I opened like 2 different vehicles' doors, not just one but 2. But the other one has biometrics on it, which is awesome. Y'all already had my identity. It's wide open. I want to drive that one, but I can't get the plate off of this one, and the plate's not in my name, and I'm not trying to go to jail. So I'm recording everything.
That's a smart idea. Again, Your Honor, if we could not put that recording into evidence? Is that a thing? Can we? I really don't want the jury to see the recording of her breaking into the cars. I don't think you understand how terrible this is for me as a lawyer. I don't think you understand how bad this is going to be. You know what I mean? Like, she's going to prison. If any of this evidence is used, my case is toast. Like, there's zero chance in me winning this. So if we could have all of this evidence expunged from the fucking record, that would be great.
I'm doing it legally.
What is the
You're doing it for the girls?
I'm following the law. I'm trying to steal a car.
What is the make and model of the vehicle?
Okay, which one?
It's a white one.
The one I want to drive or the other one?
The one that the door's open already.
Objection, too fucking nuts.
Okay, the one that's not biometric.
Okay, it's a Toyota Corolla, and it says United States Marine Corps on it. But they told me I couldn't join because I can't legally join with that name. Probably I got to change my name.
I don't think that's the problem. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think it's your name that's the issue when it comes to joining the Marines. I think that is like the least concerning problem of you joining the Marines. I'm just speculating here.
I know how to do that too. But it's all on recording, so I can't get in trouble. Oh, because I work for the CIA too. Oh,
So you're near a Toyota Corolla with Marine Corps plates on it?
Why do you have the lights on?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see them?
This guy has literally switched off.
Yes, I'm waving them down.
Okay.
Like he's
told him I'm not
literally
really crazy,
switched
right?
right off. He's like, I don't give a fuck.
No, I did not.
You're going to be this guy's problem.
Back at the scene of the alleged crime, Christy is seated in a patrol car.
Do you have anything on you I need to know about?
Oh, I can't wait. Let's see what she's got.
Anything on you that a female deputy is going to find on you? Nothing in your bra, nothing like that. Okay, have a seat for me.
Yes, sir.
They better not be pro-gaming there. She doesn't deserve it.
I need some
Ah,
seat.
good. It's like, fuck me. What a crazy bitch.
You can't make this up.
No, you can't.
Later.
He's not even talking. He's talking to the body cam because he knows that we're watching. He knows that this one was going to be on the internet. He's like, you can't make this up. Now, he looks like the crazy person, but he's literally talking to us, the viewer. He knows true well that this video is on this channel right now. Sheriff No Fucks has gone, this is going to end up on the captain's channel. I can see it happening. Let's just fucking talk to him. Lamont is here. Hello, mate.
You can't make this up.
Wait for it.
Is the charge eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
Made my night. Crazy is as crazy does.
Oh, fucking is it? What crazy is as crazy does? Fuck me.
Months later, the deputy finds the car in question and discovers it's indeed not registered to our suspect.
327 headquarters. Copy of vehicle.
Well, there's a surprise. That doesn't even look like a Cadillac dealership. This looks like a car park.
It's going to be Florida. It's on a white and color Toyota Corolla.
Like that, does that look like a car dealership to anyone else, or is this just a fucking car park? This looks like a car park that might be next door to a Cadillac dealer, because this, I don't know about you, but when I go to a car yard, they don't put the cars away at night. They don't take them to a different fucking car park and go, well, fuck it, I'll just leave them here for the night. I'm pretty sure they stay on the lot. It is a car dealership? Are you for real? I think it's next door to the car dealership. Because, yeah, you're right. There was a sign saying service entries this way, da-da-da, for service go this way. But this looks like a car park. And why would a Cadillac dealer be dealing in a fucking, like, 94 Toyota Corolla? Like, this is a bit weird, right? It's not just me thinking this. This is... I'm pretty sure this is in the car park. Like, this car looks like it's actually used by someone. Someone owns this vehicle. There's stuff in it. I don't know about you, but when I buy a new car, I don't want other people's rubbish still in the fucking vehicle. See, that looks like the car yard over there with the fence around it.
The deputy heads back to the patrol car to chat with Christy about the incident.
All right, listen here, fuckface.
If my phone is cracked
Yeah, see, that looks like a car yard with the fencing and the gates and all that. That looks like the car yard. But she was breaking into a Toyota Corolla in the middle of a fucking car park. Oh, it could be a trade-in. Yeah, you're right. Could be. I don't know. You guys are weird. America's weird. Stop being weird.
Where's the 325
well.
You threw it on the ground. That was very inappropriate.
10 where's the 327
Officer should not do that.
You guys are all weird. Like, America, stop being weird. Right? Have a proper car yard. Pre-owned dealer to the left. Okay, all right. Look, I'll throw my hand up and say you're right, but it's fucking weird. All right? Red Eye's here too, by the way. G'day, Red Eye. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
I'm 10-4. Oh my! Look, there's no cracks on the phone.
Yeah, there's cracks, all right.
You didn't miss my lawful order, so.
I know my rights, sir.
Oh.
At least we don't have dingoes eating babies, says you.
I'm allowed to. My name's Christy Lee Truman, and
yeah, we know that.
It's supposed to be Christy Lee Truman because I'm true to my word.
Okay.
Seconds later, another deputy arrives.
She's your problem.
The wrong name.
So
really, that should be exited off my my background out of the matrix system. Ha! Yeah, Christy found a loophole because Christy was told that she could be whatever she wanted when she got old.
I can't make this up. I literally pulled in the parking lot. She's sitting in the car, waving me down with her phone light on. The car's not even registered to her. So she was legit 21ing the car.
I would go.
Where's the 526 number?
Yeah.
Well, she hasn't hidden that.
Yeah.
She never hid. She never hid that she was stealing a car. She made that very fucking obvious from the very onset. So I don't know why that's a surprise. Like if I ring you going, "How you going? I'm currently burning down a building. I'm out the front. I got a can of deodorant and a lighter, and I'm just lighting shit on fire with it. I might even use a magnifying glass while the sun's hot, and I might just burn some ants and shit. You'll find me. I'm the guy standing next to the fire with all the stuff that looks like I'd be lighting a fire with. That's going to be me, all right? And then you turn up and the building's on fire and I'm standing there still lighting shit on fire. You'll be like, that's probably the guy.
So you can't make this up.
Are you ready? You're already clear of.
I can't even get her name right now because she won't even give me her proper name.
It's Christy Turner.
Yeah.
Yep, y'all need a full, complete story. But don't leave that purse over there. Or well, at least make sure the car's shut and locked.
Deputies take a moment to discuss what to do with our suspect.
I'm
They
gonna-
decide it's
I'm gonna say-
time to read her rights.
Take her to fucking jail
Let's see
would
how
be a
that
good time.
goes.
Take her to a hospital first.
The FBI, CIA, I'm getting polygraph tests today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Because a lot of people need to go down for what they did.
Meds are your friend. I need to point this out to a few people.
Okay, remember
Meds are your friend.
I'm not
Maybe you could have.
I know
Maybe you
that
can have
for a
them.
fact.
Maybe you should try
You have
something.
the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court.
Thank you.
Hang on. Let me
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
read it to you, and then you can talk. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions have you with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish.
Yeah, it's not gonna. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not gonna help. Right? You can have fucking Sol Goodman as your lawyer. You are still going to go to jail. I'm just going to be honest with you now.
If you decide to answer questions without a lawyer present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time. You also have the right to stop answering at any time to talk to a lawyer. Do you understand those directions?
Fuck no, she doesn't,
I
mate.
don't understand what's going on.
Do you
sir.
understand what I just read to you?
I heard what you said.
Okay, so you do understand your constitutional rights. Okay.
What you said? Yes,
Whose
sir.
car is that?
Deputies have redacted Christie's statements during questioning, but it isn't long until a female officer arrives to search the 37-year-old.
What do you reckon she's got on her?
Listen to me.
Yes, sir.
If you're going to be hyped up like this, I'm not going to work with you, okay? So you need
But
to
you
take.
have to with your
Hang on.
job.
Stop.
You were called
Stop. You need to take it down a notch.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Jeffrey
Do you
M.
have-
Dahmer.
hang on. Let me talk. Do you have anything on you?
No, sir. No, sir. Just close.
Okay, step out for me.
Hi. You guys are doing your job right.
You said your name's Christine?
Oh, well, that's what they booked me in 2005.
What'd your mom name you?
for me.
Well, she told me she was going to name me Lucy, right? When I
No,
was
what'd
younger.
she actually name you?
On my birth certificate, it says Christy, but it could be a fraud.
Christy.
It could be a fraud.
I mean, I'm actually an immigrant, I think. I'm a foreigner.
Where are you from?
What's this?
Finland, Germany, Europe,
Oh.
Egypt.
How long
Am I on the front?
Italy, too?
How long
Hang
you
on a
been-
minute. I just saw the great Conaholio's post. Am I on the front page of of whatever it is. Am I on the front page of Twitter, on Twitch? That's cool, even though there's only 3 viewers. Am I on the first page? That's cool. I wonder if that's going to help. That's cool as. I'm going to give you a love heart on that. This bitch be crazy. This girl is full pelican. It's very rare to see someone full pelican. But this has to be a sanction. Someone needs to send this lady somewhere. Oh, it's in the section. I don't know what that means. But I'm going to say yay!
Here. Well, technically I moved to Fort Myers in 1995, but some of the shit on Truth Finder is incorrect. They need to update that.
Oh, on the podcast page. Right, gotcha. Mr.
Speaking
Winston,
of Truth Finder, we use Truth Finder at Law and Crime for our script writing and researching for this very body cam channel. I'm here to tell you it's actually an incredible product.
all right, how about I get in contact with them and they can be a sponsor for me? I'm going to steal your sponsors. I don't even know what Truth Finder is, but I'm going to fucking steal them.
Razor. Yeah. And guess what?
Someone remind me to reach out to Truth Finder. Maybe they're going to be the new Pro Guard.
Last 3 numbers of my phone number is 007.
Oh, lucky you. Did you have to ask for that, or was that just
No! God works in mysterious ways. Y'all don't even know. Y'all can't know my story. I'm
Do you know where your other earbud is?
I lost it a long time ago. I know I only got one, but I'm going to replace it. I'm getting my child support.
I'm just sitting on top of the floor.
I'm really disabled. I have MS too.
Oh, okay.
And I've already been diagnosed.
Okay right now?
Oh, I'm lovely. I'm lovely. Yes, ma'am.
52170.
Thank you guys for your service. I mean, my shoulders hurt.
Have you ever thought about overdosing? Just a curious. I don't care what it is that you overdose on. It's just a thought. You know what I mean? Like all the cool kids are doing it.
I have MS and I haven't had any medication and I'm off.
I see you wearing a sports bra, right?
Well, there's a surprise.
You pull all you want. You can touch
What
it.
I'm going to do is I'm going to have you lean forward.
Okay.
I'm going to shake.
No drugs. I'm not on drugs, you
That's
guys.
what we like.
Except for these
Thank
drugs.
you.
They're not good for you.
I just haven't slept in 2 days, so I'm a little manic.
Nah, really?
I've been doing a lot of research on my family, my life, and I'm really related to Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, lucky you.
No.
This couple is just switching off. Like,
Good genes. Here, have a seat for me.
So I'm not
Of course you
incest.
are.
Like, I'm not inbred.
Well, I mean,
well, you
the
could
whole
be.
royal family is, but that's really far back. You're fine.
That's not
really
cool.
far
Please
back.
redact that.
No, it's true.
Please don't tell me that's true.
We're talking far back, though.
Can I give you a polygraph test, too? If I take one, you got to take one, too.
Let's do it. But
Yeah.
we're
We'll see who's really
I'm not sure if that's how polygraphs work.
Have a seat for me, Christy.
We'll
Thank you.
figure it out after this, and then we'll set
I don't think it's a if I do it, you do it situation.
that up.
Turner, we're turning around.
Yeah.
Turn around.
I am.
All right.
I love
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. See you later.
She's a character.
This is what you do in this situation. Do what most Victorian police officers do. Drive to just outside your jurisdiction and let her out of the vehicle. That's all you need to do in this situation. You go, fuck this. This is a lot of paperwork. It is now, what time is it? It's now fucking 10 to 1 in the morning. Let's just take her to the outside of the county, open the door, and just point her in the direction of the other jurisdiction, and then she's their problem.
After that, let's just say, bizarre conversation, Christy is taken to the Lee County Jail. Once en route, however, the 37-year-old has a few more things to say to the deputy.
327 headquarters.
Why are they taking it to the county jail? Surely this lady needs to be looked at, like, mentally, yeah? Is there, I don't know, some jails do have mental health physicians that come in. Either way, she needs someone with a medical degree to just look at her for a second.
I'm 53 with a disorderly female. Starting mileage 570032. Vehicle 321.
Oh, the judge would have to... See, here in Oz, a doctor can just do that. Or a police officer can section you as well. They can go, well, fuck, you are crazy. And just section you and take you to a hospital. And then you become their problem.
Oh my God, this is going to be the best story. Thank you, Jesus. What's your name, sir?
Deputy Lineberger.
Huh?
Deputy Lineberger.
Jails don't, prisons do. Okay, righto.
Oh, he's a lion-ass burger. Just kidding.
Driver mode, seatbelt, changes. Oh, they check the competency.
I think you have a great last name. There you go.
Truman, but I want to be Truman is what I meant to say. I think I said the same thing twice.
Yeah, and?
Wait, you're not taking me to the actual investigation office.
No, you're going to the Lee County Jail.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, I was in the jail.
Trespassing motor vehicle.
Making me think. Y'all don't even know what all the circumstances that actually happened during that.
528 headquarters. Can you say 650
writing and I'm taking a picture of it too.
Walkie bastard.
Because I'm an attorney, I'm studying law at AIU University.
The mental health professionals heard that she was loose and all ran away. That sounds about accurate there, Kendall. Can understand that. I would too.
But I'm also doing it by experience. You got to lead by example.
Okay.
Headquarters 376.
Sometimes, in order to tip the balance to make things right, you can't do things you know are.
Headquarters 376.
She's a nice talker. They all went to the next state over. That's why I reckon these deputies just need to drop her off at on the outskirts of the county and go that way, walk that way.
Sure do.
That guy over there's got, I don't know, fucking minties or something. Go and follow him. He'll give you some lollies. You like cool mints? Go that way.
Man, you wouldn't even believe me. Y'all would have to give me a complete my walk with God. Yo, did you know that God really is a magician? Like,
God's a magician.
At least I think he was, because I thought I wasn't sure if I was being tested by the military up there or not. Because,
You say God's a magician?
yeah, because if you sign up for the Navy, there's like, you're
You think God was just doing magic tricks? I suppose in a way he was, wasn't he? Yeah, put him in a boat, ship him off to Cuba.
But you're still reserving
God is
yourself
David
to be
Copperfield. Yeah, I think you're right.
Take it away from your family, and you don't know if you're gonna.
Yeah, God once made the Statue of Liberty disappear. Oh, it's weird. Oh, yeah, God works in mysterious ways.
Do you want to take that risk?
Oh, she's in the CIA, of course. Yeah, she knows. She knows exactly how this works. This is why you need ProGuard in your car, so you don't have to do this drive.
Suffers from attachment issues at some time or another. Did you know attachment issues are actually means you have multi-personality disorder? Did you know that?
Yeah, I think we figured that one out.
I'm very highly skilled.
It's not long until Christy arrives at the jail where correctional staff
Too fucking
is
long,
waiting
by the
for
way.
her. Let's see how she reacts.
She might be crazy, but she's entertaining. You're fucking spot on there, beauty.
Thank you.
Yeah, never sticking in crazy. Oh, 88. She is a 007. That's right. 007 bitches, by the way. Is the full name. Should we use a Cuban cigar? Yeah, you guys can just have her.
I'm gonna have the best fucking movie. Nobody's gonna believe my story until they see my car.
I want to see this movie. Why are you locking your car up at a jail? Who's going to steal it?
She's just verbal, but she's up and down.
She's just a fucking droppy. She's a proper fucking spinner.
Trespassing in a conveyance.
As you heard there, Christy was booked for trespassing in a conveyance.
I will probably be the highlight of your night. I don't think y'all will ever forget this night.
No, I don't think we will.
Okay, so I'm not that cool. Damn. Oh, I made her smile. Oh, I made her smile.
They're like, fuck me. Really?
My name's Christy.
That guy's got a
Turner.
nesty.
I'm changing my name. Y'all are gonna want me to change my name after.
Oh, I wonder if he's got sandwiches.
The office might be going down, like on fire.
Like I said, she's not combative. She's just.
I promise.
Just a magic Monday. Tell me why I don't like Mondays. Tell me why I don't like Mondays. She quoting Pulp Fiction?
You're getting subpoenaed.
Yeah, you're getting subpoenaed. Sorry about that.
Supposed to be justice for all. You know, they say guilty, but I'm not guilty.
Jesus, fluffy Christ.
Christy later pleaded no contest to the charge. Her case remains open.
Yeah, again, the lawyer, I don't think, has got a good chance in winning it. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see a very strong defense that she's got going on right now. It's not a strong one. She might have one, but it's not very fucking strong whatsoever. Let me just... Oh, there we go. What was that? Oh, Love United Videos has just subscribed. Hello, good son. Welcome to the channel. Welcome. Thank you for subscribing. Good to have you here with us. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages. That, of course, is another set of live streams for another day. Have you had a bit of fun? Have you enjoyed it? I had a little bit of fun. I thought that was pretty fun. I thought it was pretty fun. Yeah, I think it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. Fuck me, there's some crazy people in this world, isn't there? I got to tell you this. I am so very thankful that you've all come and be part of this. Thank you to everyone that ran over and became members on Twitch and stuff as well for me. That's awesome. I don't know how many followers are now there, but I feel like we're getting closer into the realm of what we need to be. Where are we up to? Let me have a look. How many followers? We've got 14. So I just need another 11. If I get 11, I've hit me 25, and it's all pretty much fucking Millhouse from there. How good would that be? So if you're over there on Twitch or whatever, go and sign up. That would be really nice if you could do that. But on top of that, that is it for another live stream. I hope that you've had a little bit of fun, and I hope that you've had a little bit of a laugh. But I got to get going. I'm going to go and fucking catch up with fucking Terry again.
Well, I have something to fucking tell you.
Oh, fucking Terry. Let me tell you what happened, right? He sticks his head over the fence yesterday and goes, well, I have something to fucking tell you. I said, hit me with it, Terry. What is going on in the world of Terry? And he goes, well, my girlfriend is very fucking hungry. Oh, no, mate, you're in the doghouse again. What's happened with the girlfriend? Why is she fucking angry at you, Terry? And he goes, well, it was her fucking birthday, and I got her a beautiful fucking present. Well, hang on, why would she get angry at you giving her a beautiful present, right? That's what you're meant to do on a birthday. You give her a beautiful present, they like it, and that's just how birthday presents work, right? He goes, oh, yeah, but she didn't like what I fucking gave her. So, but what did you give her? He goes, well, my grandmother's beautiful fucking bracelet. I'm like, oh, that's good. You gave your girlfriend your grandmother's bracelet. I think that's really lovely. Why did she crack the shits at you for getting her such a lovely, thoughtful gift? Obviously, we all know that your grandmother passed away, and you've given her a bracelet as a sign of, mutual respect amongst one another. It's her birthday. You've given her a bracelet. Why has she cracked the shits? He goes, oh, because she said, Terry, you fucking dickhead. And I said, huh? She goes, why does the bracelet say, do not resuscitate? Fucking hell, Terry. All right, that is it. Thank you so very much. Thank you for hanging around with me. Thank you for everything that you do here on the channel. Thank you to everyone that donated and moderated and does all that fun stuff. Thank you so very much. I'll be back a bit later on, but until then, keep me fully erect and well fucking... hooroo.